Hello, guys. Today we shall discuss the important concepts of local anesthesia. If you like the content, please leave a like and subscribe to Medicoman. That being said, let's begin. Local anesthetics are those group of drugs acting on the peripheral nervous system which can cause a reversible loss of sensation. Reversible is a key word here. Specific loss of pain sensation is to be noted. However, it is also to be noted that due to the non-specific termination of the nerve impulse, motor as well as the autonomic signals are arrested. So now let us classify the local anesthesias according to the pharmacological demands. Let's divide them into two. We can divide them into injectable anesthetics and the other as surface anesthetics. The injectable anesthetics can be further divided into three subtypes. Firstly, the low potency subtypes. Moving on to the intermediate potency and finally the high potency. Surface anesthetics can be divided into soluble group and insoluble depending on the water solubility. Moving on, injectable anesthetics, as the name suggests, has to be injected in parenteral form, either SC, IM, ID. IV injections are not preferred. The red arrow is used to demarcate that the short acting are the low potency injectable anesthetics. Moving towards the higher potency, the action is long acting. The low potency involves procaine and chloroprocaine. Intermediate as lidocaine, lignocaine and prilocaine. High potency are tetracaine, bupivacaine and ropivacaine. The cane word is kind of a key to memorize as a local anesthetic. Soluble groups involve cocaine, lidocaine, lignocaine and proparacaine. The insoluble forms are benzocaine and oxythazine. This was regarding the pharmacological classification. We can also classify local anesthesia based on their chemical properties, which we shall do now. According to the chemistry of the local anesthesia, we divide them into two, as ester form and as amide forms. This is because all the local anesthesias are weak bases and has amphiphilic property. And the two ring chains, they are connected by either an ester link or an amide link. Esters involve the cocaine, procaine and chloroprocaine group, whereas the amide groups, they involve tetracaine, bupivacaine, lidocaine and lignocaine. As we write here, tetracaine, lidocaine and bupivacaine. There are certain chemical variations in the amide bond local anesthesias, which separates them from the ester bonds. Firstly, they are long acting and therefore their efficacy is higher. They have higher intensity of local anesthesia. Secondly, the amide local anesthesias are not hydrolyzed by the plasma esterase, that are the pseudocholinesterase. Thirdly, they are bounded to the alpha-1 glycoproteins in the plasma. And lastly, there are decreased chances of hypersensitivity reactions in comparison to the esters. Let us talk about the mechanism of action of these local anesthetics. Firstly, let's draw a normal nerve structure. This is a myelinated nerve. We have created the myelin sheet and the node of Ranvier in between. The myelin sheet is a lipoprotein covering over the nerve cell, the axon of the nerve. The myelin sheet in between has the node of Ranvier, which is a dense collection of the voltage gated sodium and potassium channels. From this node of Ranvier, let's first mark the voltage gated sodium channels. Let's create a diagram to understand this. The voltage gated sodium channels, as the name suggests, they are stimulated by a voltage change, hence they cause depolarization in the nerve cell. It contains two gates, an activation gate, which is also called the make gate or the M gate, and the inactivation gate or the halt gate as H gate, right? H as in halt, M as in make. This state is the open condition. Now the sodium from the extracellular compartment can enter the nerve cell, causing depolarization. So what does the local anesthesia do? The local anesthesia molecule can exist in two forms, either as non-ionic or as ionic form. Only in the non-ionic form can it diffuse the cell membrane of the nerves and enter inside the nerve cell into the axon. So we should note that local anesthesia blocks these channels from the interior of the cells. Now within the cells, the local anesthesia will exist in non-ionic form. Now it is to be converted into its ionic form, which is a more potent inhibitor. The ionic form will block the activated state or the inactivated state of the voltage gated sodium channels. As a result, now the depolarization process is hampered. Let's create a graph for that. We create the y-axis and the x-axis. The y-axis denoting the voltage changes from minus 90 millivolt up to 0 to plus 20, and the x-axis determines the time. Right? This is a normal depolarization curve or the normal action potential curve. When the voltage gated sodium channels are blocked, depolarization will take more time, and eventually the threshold is not met. Due to this reason, the nerve conduction is hampered. So there is eventually delay of depolarization, which ultimately results in complete blockage of the impulse. Sometimes there might be failure of local anesthesia to deliver the anesthetic application. This might be due to inflammation, due to increased blood flow in that particular region of application, or there is decreased adrenergic effect. Local anesthesias are usually mixed with adrenaline. Why do we do so? We do this because of 4 key points. First being that adrenaline will prolong the action by decreasing the systemic absorption. Notice that we never give local anesthesia intravenously. It is because we want the local action. We can either give it IM, SC or ID. Secondly, it will decrease the blood loss, which results in a better surgical picture. And lastly, adrenaline itself will promote the nerve block quality of the local anesthesia. It is sort of like a synergistic effect. And lastly, the pharmacokinetics and the adverse effects. The pharmacokinetics for local anesthesia is not that significant. The only thing to note is that IV application is not of much use. Amide and esters have their individual separate kinetics, which we have already discussed. Adverse effects like confusion, muscular twitching, headache, dizziness are common CNS effects. Local irritation upon application is common. Hypersensitivity reactions like rashes and urticaria are mild and uncommon. Systemic effects like hypotension and respiratory depression may also occur.